What does it truly mean to be a hero? And how far is too far before you no longer are one? These are the key questions that lay underneath the entirety of DC's 2004 event, Identity Crisis. Written by Brad Meltzer, with pencils by Rags Morales and inks by Michael Baer, the 7-issue limited series acts as a way in which to retcon and change several aspects of the DC cast, though with a decidedly smaller scope compared to DC's other Crisis events. This ultimately does no disservice though, allowing the story to focus much more closely on telling a compact and exciting mystery, making for a deeply engaging and enjoyable read. The story opens somewhat ironically, with a simultaneously silly yet tragic conversation between Firehawk and Ralph Dibny, otherwise known as the Elongated Man, preluding the central mystery of the story, the anonymous murder of Ralph's wife. This sudden and unexpected death acts as an immediate and shocking reminder to the heroes of the universe. No one, even those under the protection of extreme powers, is ever really safe. Much of the story is narrated from the perspective of Green Arrow, whose deep connection and serious, contemplative attitude makes for an interesting and open entry into understanding the feelings and intent behind each hero. Additionally, a great deal of time is dedicated to the ways in which each hero reacts to the discovery of Sue Dibny's death, and with subsequent threats and murders coming through, the emotions of the heroes are taken to new heights. This makes for extremely compelling writing, with the unknown element of who will be next and the total lack of information on who could be behind it all, leaving an aura of nervous suspense at all times. Particularly this latter fact, that the killer could be anyone, is essential to the way in which the story ties back to the key theme of heroicness, for soon, characters such as Wally West start to question the truth behind the past of the heroes. While the story serves as an incredibly interesting and entertaining read in its own right, the focus on and dissection of the varying characters of the DC universe are where the true strength of Meltzer's writing shines. From the tragedy and suffering which we see in The Elongated Man to the later scenes with Batman and Robin, each and every character is used with near equal importance and given some level of analysis within the story. In particular, the pasts of the core 7 or so heroes, including the likes of Green Arrow, Zatanna, Hal Jordan, and Barry Allen, are heavily touched upon and used to explore the relation between morality versus the greater good. Meltzer elaborates further on these elements in the author dissection at the end of the novel, describing the debate over the good and morality as one giant fight scene, all without a single punch being thrown, and additionally, a representation of the transition between Silver Age thinking towards the more modern take on comics. This efficiency in writing is again where Identity Crisis is really at its best, with characters, themes, and storylines all being intertwined such that the outcome is something truly universe-defining, and thus totally worthy of the name Crisis. Of course, without strong artwork, a comic book can never reach complete legendary status, but luckily in the case of Identity Crisis, Rags Morales is able to perfectly encapsulate the tone and style of each scene, with visually striking moments, such as Ralph's melting face in sadness, or him clutching onto his dead wife's body, arms outstretched, heightening the emotional impact of these moments. One moment in particular that stands out amongst all the others is one in which Dr. Light can be just faintly seen outlined on a near all-white page, with what this represents in the story being incredibly impactful. Again, the insight provided by the author dissection at the end proves further why the art works well in Identity Crisis, with Morales' decision to include the outline of Light really making the image all the more striking. The colours too are competently filled in, largely staying in keeping with the modern method of shading and colouring, so that no drawing ever feels out of place. Overall, Identity Crisis is a unique and thoroughly enjoyable read, working both as a standalone graphic novel as well as an important event in the DC timeline. The themes of family, morality, and heroicness give further insight into the psyche of the characters, and give a far deeper and more universal meaning and message to an already tightly packed thrilling mystery storyline.